Hi everybody. Today we are lucky to have here Aubrey Wong, who is, for example, founder of Young Investor Association and many more. And Aubrey, I would like to ask you for your brief introduction.
Sure. Hi, I'm Aubrey. I founded the Young Investors Organization in Silicon Valley. I was investment banking for many years, advising companies for IPO and M&A deals. And then I have also worked in VC and PE deals for the startups. So I'm very happy to be here and have a chance to communicate with everybody here. And hopefully I can contribute something that might be helpful for the young organizations here.
Definitely, I think so. So we directly jump on our first question.
Awesome.
And my first question is, if you can see some patterns in companies from outside Silicon Valley, let's say European startups, startups from Asia, etc., etc.
Yep, sure. It's a very interesting trend that I have seen from my perspective. I've seen a lot of German founders here in Silicon Valley. And it seems like their take is from a lifestyle more than just a concept and idea, which is more popular here in America. I've seen girls that were doing health apps and guys that were doing furniture, very innovative furniture startup from German and from, I believe the girls from Norway. So it seems like their inspiration is from daily life, where they see improvement in life and they just go tackle on it. Whereas the startup here are more focused on apps for, such as for your pets, to trace where pets are, or for apps for social networking apps. Maybe they're tracing the success of other apps that have been successful. I've seen Airbnb for food here. That is a very interesting trend because of the share economy from Brian Chesky. So there is a little bit trend there. I would say also in Asia, India, as we were just talking earlier, India had just launched their first dating app about 2-3 years ago. Technically, this is the first Match.com, which America has had for probably 6, 7, 10 years. And then China market is very interesting. They usually just take the model of what the business had been tested and proved and run well here, and they launched their own version. Maybe because of language barrier and the mentality barrier, they launched their own version of Uber and Airbnb, and they have been extremely successful in the huge China market. So each country is a little bit different, and there are a few international accelerator that help the foreign startups to get funding and to set up office here in San Francisco. So yeah, it's very interesting to see where we're heading from here, and definitely the diversity would contribute more to the economy in Silicon Valley.
So even though like all the countries and all the startups are so different, like, many of them like to come to Silicon Valley to still learn from the best of best.
Correct. Yeah, they want to apply for Y Combinator, the accelerators, 500 startups. Not only get the funding, but also get mentorship and a network and connection. Usually, they introduce those resources to you as a benefit of their graduates. And that's very helpful for their Series A, Series B funding as well.
And these founders or these startups usually come for a shorter period, let's say for 1 month or 3 months, when they have this mentorship program or accelerating program. What do you think is possible to achieve in such a short period?
Usually one batch is about 3-4 months. That's usually how long it is. I think the best way is just to dive into the community. Because every business you do, think about two sides, internal and external. Internally, you need to manage your employee, develop your apps, manage your employee, develop contents, and also have enough funding, which is related to the external. Whereas, where do you want to launch your product, in the North American market or European market or even India market? I know one guy who's, I believe, is Caucasian, launched in India. One American guy launched in in Africa. In telecommunications. So depends on where your market is. You need to study the factor of who is your audience, who you want to be on your board, who you want to be your strategic investors. So those are the factors that you really need to think about. So for the people who come here for the accelerator, I would suggest not only just for the accelerator, where they offer you mentorship and talk with the investors here, have a demo day and present your product, but also just dive into the community in Silicon Valley, because this is the most, I would say, probably the most accepting, even encouraging environment for startups to thrive. People are willing to try your products. People are willing to give you a chance on Indiegogo for crowdfunding, and angel investors, seed investors are willing to give you a shot by funding your initial stage, high-risk funding. So those are the factors that you need to think about. And of course, there is the cultural reason for foreign startups to really understand the users in American market. There is that factor. However, human feelings are universal, like Airbnb, it's just global, and Uber is global. So I would think that it depends on the product, and there are unique features of what you need to do, but also there's a lot of opportunities maybe you won't be able to see unless you dive into the community, attend a lot of events, meet a lot of users and investors, talk to them and get feedback from them, just get the most out of it. Hang out with friends and go to bars and have pizza with them.
Yeah, that's very, very good style, I would say.
Thank you.
And so we can agree that these 3-4 months, it's really short period, and you have to really spend pushing yourself, visiting different events, meeting people.
Yes.
But is there any advice you would give to entrepreneurs before they come? How to prepare to be super effective here from the first day, like start diving in it?
Right. So I would think, I would put myself in the shoe of the startup founder. I would at least to understand the curriculum, the procedure, and who are the potential mentors, who are in the networks, who are the people in my field that I really need to see when I'm there within the 3 months I'm in America. Say if I'm a craft beer entrepreneur, then I really need to see, I think his name is Anderson, who founded the Anderson School in UCLA, and he has his own craft beer, like a beer industry investment banking. So he knows all the distributors and manufacturers here, and the investors for beer industry. So that would be a critical person for me to have. I would try to connect with that person when I'm there. So prepare as much as you can, but I would think that people is number one factor that you need to consider. Make sure you get the critical point, like touch point of person to either the industry or the distributors or your consumer. If you're doing wholesale, and check out who are the retailers. And something that you can get in Europe physically that you can do in here. Just make sure that you've got all the resources lined up, meetings lined up. When you're here, just take advantage of it.
So now we have several tips what to do, and what are 3 don'ts behavior you should avoid here.
Okay, interesting. Don't think too much. That would be my first opinion. Don't think too much. When you really have the passion, you have the great product and the passion, and you believe what you're doing, because nobody is 100% sure what you're doing exactly. You are the expert in what you're doing. Maybe from your background, you have invested 2 years in this startup. There's so much more that other people don't know, even investors don't know either. So don't think you need to follow the herd. Don't think that you need to do a certain way. There are so many different people would give you opinion, like do this and make sure your graph is hockey stick, and make sure on your demo day you only need to show this to the investors because they like to see this, or stuff like that. I would say like you get the sense what they're looking for, profitability of course, but just don't follow as is given, because it's not true. Right? Not every company is hockey stick and within 3 or 5 years. We all know that, even though people want to see it. But bringing your authenticity, your own insights, your true passion, why you're doing this. You're not doing this just for the startup's sake, right? You're doing this because you see a way of improving people's life or bringing tremendous profitability, or it's a niche market. overlooked by people. Just bring something that is genuine and true. And I do believe that foreign startups coming here to San Francisco and Silicon Valley have that. A lot of them have that. Otherwise, they wouldn't come here all the way here, right? So that's number one. Don't. Number two, don't. I would say. I'm a very positive person that likes to emphasize what you should do, and from that, you probably can see what you shouldn't do. Probably just the opposite. Any other thing generally people probably would want to avoid is maybe just cling to your own group. It's just a natural tendency to hang out with your own, like your own group from Czech and who have done this before in here, and you want to talk to them and see how they succeed here. But that's just one perspective, right? And talk to some other people as well. And maybe talk to Indian founders and how they succeed here. Because there are a lot of very successful Indian companies, and that amazed me. Not many Asian companies per se, but for some reason they're doing something right. And I want to personally learn what is right. And maybe from what I have learned is they're not afraid of making fun of themselves. They're not afraid of saying something stupid. They're not afraid of hanging out with different people. They're always warm and welcoming and funny, and humor is a big factor too. So yeah, anything opposite of that, just probably don't do it, and just be open. 3 don'ts, huh? One more to go. Don't think too much about funding, you have to, get this funding by this date, or for different rounds, or someone raised the 20 million, they're going to succeed, and what if I don't have any, I only have 200K now. Funding is not the only factor that determines your success. A lot of execution, and even if you have 2-3 competitors in the industry who have raised 10 times more funding than you are, I still think the odds are at your side if you just put in the efforts and you truly have a much better product. By the end of the day, all that matters is a good product. That builds traction, and that builds a viral spread for you. So believe in the product. Don't pay too much attention about who else raised how much money.
But still, you mentioned funding, and of course many people come here to learn from the best.
Right.
Many people come here to be part of the vibrant environment.
Right.
But many people are looking for funding.
Yeah.
So how long do you think it can on average take to get funding, seed round, close the seed round, from the initial contact to the real?
Yeah, that is a very, very interesting question, because the answer just vary depending on how prepared you are. Some people are just doing part-time, and that take them 3 years to get the first seed round fund. You're asking seed round or C round funding?
Seed round.
Seed round, right? They start bootstrapping for a long time before they raise any money. Some people sold their prior business for a little bit money, so they self-fund their seed round. So there are many different structures, but I would say from an idea, from a concept to developing a prototype, you have to give it at least 3 months, and A/B testing it too. So generally speaking, you're looking about, and then it takes about 2 months for the angel investors or seed round investor, their accredited investors, for the general process from start talking with them to closing the funding with the legitimate, not family and friend, but legitimate accredited investors would be about 2 months. So prepared for that in terms of when you want to launch that and avoid holidays and stuff. Yeah.
Now, but different question.
Sure.
Do you think we are facing the investment bubble? And if so, and it bursts, what do you think would be the impact on Silicon Valley?
Okay, so I've given some thoughts about this question, because I'm from investment banking, and a lot of economists and analysts in that industry. I was just talking to a banker last night, and he said the consensus is about in about 12 to 16 months, there's going to be some sort of outburst, even from the bond market, maybe from some of the segments of the market. I'm not afraid of bubble. If you talk to serial entrepreneurs here in Silicon Valley, they shouldn't be afraid of bubble, because they're always there. they're always overvaluation or undervaluation of anything. So bubble is just overvaluation to a large degree, right? And what happens is bubble will come and go. If something is extremely overvalued, just like stock market, it will correct itself and come back to the normal level. And that might take a few years. But the technology now that's produced per unit of time is larger than any time in history. I didn't say this. Larry Ellison said this, and I totally agree. That means that based on the foundation that we have so far on science and technology and coding, the technology born per unit of time is much larger than before. And this is the best time to invest in your energy, your time into something that you're truly passionate about, and just dive in and develop that technology. And, you know, I'm sure a lot of people heard about the IBM people talk about many years ago in the 80s, says there are only probably demand for 5 computers in the world back then, right? It's the same thing. A lot of people think, oh, there's no market for this or whatever, or there's so many apps. There are more apps than people on the globe right now. But in about 5-10 years, it'll be like, I should have done it. You know, 5 years, I should have done it. And now is the time that you should be doing it. So it's the best time. Resource-wise, from the internet, you can get anything that pretty much any information that you want. You can just Google it and get it. And everybody is a small entrepreneur to some level. Then you have the tools and to do it. So it's the best time. Don't worry about bubble. Come and go.
So if the entrepreneur believes in himself or herself or in the company, the product, what is the best way how to approach investor and pitch him the idea?
So in the community here, the best way is to get someone introduce you to the investor. They typically don't take cold calls or just walk in the door or introduce yourself that way. Because they like to invest with other investors altogether. So if their friend has been talking with you and them and introduce you and say, hey, I know this guy and this company, take a look at it, they'll probably do it. And I do that too for a lot of companies, for the angel investor community here. And I love doing that. So that's probably the best advice, that just nurture the friendship with the investors or friends with investors, like past serial entrepreneurs who have done this before. Get mentors and build relationships that way, build credibility, show your personality, because they want to see you are a people person. They want to invest in someone that is charismatic. Even at your worst time, you can still have the power to pull people on your team to help you out. You won't go broke on relationships. People would still stand by your side. They like to invest in people like that. Make sure that you build a lot of relationship with those people. And when the time comes that you need funding, money would come much easier that way, and a better evaluation as well.
If someone approaches you, what are usually the metrics you are looking at? Is it growth, traction,
all of
else?
those things. All of those things. Anything relevant to your industry. So if you are like a manufacturing industry, then they're going to look how many competitors are there, what kind of brand, what is your branding strategy, because it's extremely competitive, right? Is a niche market? How big is a niche market? What's the distribution channel? They're going to ask anything that is relevant, but most importantly, everybody wants to see your revenue model, revenue streams, and ROI, growth rate. Those probably are the most like universal metrics that we'll look at. Yeah, and you should have financial statements ready: income statement, balance sheet, and cash flow statements. Yeah.
So I'm getting a bit back. We talk about the investment bubble and valuation. So. What do you think is the best strategy to make it really realistic? Because investors complain that it's not realistic at all, and entrepreneurs feel like losing something.
Yeah, so. That is a very good question. Do be realistic, because some people do like to think that their company is worth $2 billion to start from the get-go, and that's probably unrealistic to a lot of the companies. So do proof. If you do think that it's worth that value, do proof why you think so. And B, because the process of how you value your own company is a process they get to know you as well. And they want to know that you are a shrewd business person at valuations and estimates of how much cost and time and energy and success rate and all the factors combined. They want to see that you are someone authentic, reliable, believable, not just all over the place. For sure, like all over the place, people are not very popular with investors because they're investing in you, right? So the number one factor should be they trust you. So be realistic, and yet don't just take any money that comes to the door, because that's in their favor when they devalue your company. So if you do believe something firmly, strongly, then present to them. This is why exactly I think my company is worth this much more. And the reason is the market has been neglected, or the market here in Europe is much larger than you expect in here, or something for whatever reason. Explain to them. And then do be firm and confident, and work with someone that you feel comfortable that is standing on your side as much as possible, because you will be working a lot with the investors, and they will call you and ask you and check on the improvements, and you want someone that understands you, share probably the same style as you. The most important thing is you feel comfortable and they feel comfortable too, and there's a trust factor, but a lot of people skill and cultural background and personal belief and mission. A lot of those things combined. Just don't take any money.
Is there any industry you are focusing on, or you prefer for some reasons?
My personal industry. I like technology. I like it. I really enjoy seeing completely disruptive new technology. Something that people think crazy, that I would give them a shot, and I would love to meet them and talk with them. But I know right now the trend, what is hot is robotics are hot. FinTech, 2015 is the year of FinTech. Healthcare has always been hot. Personal data collection is hot. Big data is hot. Industry-wise, you would get a very diverse range of investors interested in different things. So I'm not too worried that if you're in a niche industry or something, then you won't find anyone who appreciates what you do. I funded a company that has graphite mine. Graphite, nobody knows what graphite is used for. They think it's just pencil, but it's actually in the battery. So even that, I found investors for it. So don't worry too much about the industry, and you will find someone in the field, I'm sure. Yeah, if not, give me a shout. Yeah, I would love to help out if I can.
My very last question.
Sure.
What did you learn today or this week?
Oh, yesterday I had lunch. I was sitting in a restaurant, and there was a very old gentleman sitting across from the table. It's a sushi restaurant. And then both of us were just alone by ourselves, so we just joined each other for lunch. And I asked him what he realized when he's in the 30s, which I am now. And he said he realized one thing, that life is not unlimited, contrary to what people usually feel like. You feel like, oh, I have 60 years ahead of me, 40 years ahead of me, a long time. I'm not in a hurry. I'm just going to enjoy myself. I want to start my company, but this pay is pretty good. What if my company doesn't work well? Let me just see what I can meet in the next few months. And then a few months go to half a year, and then a few years. And then all of a sudden you're 45 and you feel like, oh, I'm settled down with kids and I can't take any risk anymore. So the gentleman yesterday, he said when he realized that life is actually very limited, someone calculated even into days, like there's a definite number of how many days on average we have in life. Once he realized that, he said, I just don't take BS from people anymore. I try to please people when I was younger, make sure everyone think I'm a good team player, accept me in the community, in school, in workplace. After I realized that, I just don't take BS anymore. I just do the stuff that I truly believe in. And I also just bring a sense of authenticity to life. Because of the limited time that you have, you're going to be gone by the very end of the day. And when you see that, you just want to bring authenticity and just do something you really love. Don't think too much about how people judge you, how people think of you, what you say. Does it look silly? None of those things really matter. So I like that.
Thank you very much, Aubrey. Brilliant interview. Thank you for your thoughts.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.